Hey everyone, I am super excited about this morning's lesson because as I was pulling out of my driveway and to drop my kids off to their respective places, daycare, karate camp, I noticed that the street where my garage is located to my condo, there's a lot of construction equipment, and my kids love construction equipment. And so I started noticing newer equipment coming in there every day, and I'm thinking, now is the time to do a lesson on robots and how to draw robots, because I know many of you have been asking me, Bobby, when are you going to draw robots and teach us how to draw robots? And today's the day. Now, the one thing that I will say about robots is that these lessons, when you're learning about creatures and robots and people, they can't all be done in one lesson. So the lesson I'm giving today, just think of it as a complete beginner's guide to robots, okay? Some of the stuff that I'm going to be showing you how to do is pretty crazy, but simple at the same time. I'm actually going to be putting an extra bleed-proof piece of paper under there. See what happens. I'm drawing on moleskin right now. I didn't have any marker paper with me, so if you guys don't have any marker paper with you, you're in the same boat. A good thing to do is take some printer paper, put it under the sketch pad, just so it doesn't bleed on any other drawings you're doing. So, where to start when you're drawing robots? Definitely the silhouette. Okay, just take a black marker. You can even do a Sharpie marker, and just start playing around with some really cool silhouettes. They don't have to be detailed. Notice how I'm just kind of splashing some shapes on here, but the shapes do need to be readable. So one of the biggest things about creature design, and I'm going to relate it to robot design and mechs, is that it's not about all the intricate little details that you put into the machinery and the wrinkles and the scales and everything. It's the overall readable silhouette on the outside. So what happens is a lot of times people jump right into details when it comes especially to robots. And the problem with that is that you start drawing pipes and wires and panels and things that shouldn't exist where you put them. Okay, so let me explain. The details, they offer a really good sense of realism when they're put in the correct places, like joints or places that articulate and move. That's where you need to focus on. By the way, you're probably going to hear construction equipment. I try to shut the windows in the back so it doesn't come through. But we'll see how that goes. So notice how all of the details that I'm putting in here, it's just to show the outside silhouette of it. Got some pretty crazy stuff here. I don't even know what's happening. It looks like a little mechanical spider. I don't know what that is. Alright, so maybe we can put in some thick forearm joints. And also, look at the different shapes that you're drawing from the previous thumbnail and go, how can I make the newer one different? And that's definitely what you should be doing. So right here I'm just kind of playing with some shapes that don't exist on this one. So then when I move over to the next one, I can do that. So let's try something a little more gargantuan here. So we have a rounded head there, we have a rather flat head there. Let's see if we can make a tall skinny one. That'd be kind of neat. Okay, maybe it's a shorter one. Maybe the torso is pretty big. Okay. You see how when I'm drawing this, what's important is the outside edges. Okay, make sure that everything is readable. I'm not really worried about the intricate joints that connect the shoulder pauldrons right here, okay? Another reason why I wanted to do robots today, one, because I'm an industrial designer by trade from way back in the day. But also, one of the machines that's outside is a excavator with a breaker attached to it. If you guys know what that is, that's whenever you see the excavators with the jackhammers attached to the end of it, the really heavy duty ones, I think that's probably my favorite piece of construction equipment, because those things, they do it, the name is, they break up everything. So, and my boys love it. They're 4 and 6 years old and they're looking at this thing going, Dad, look at that thing. Can that hurt? Like, yes, son, it can hurt. All right. so maybe this thing doesn't really stand like a person, but let's roll some legs back here, some joints, and then have them stick out. So maybe it's kind of top heavy, like that. Okay, and then maybe the feet actually are a little bigger. Okay, so nothing's really set in stone with any of these designs. Okay, and I also noticed that these legs are similar to that one, so I don't want to do it to the next one. All right, let's do something that's really crazy here. Maybe we'll have something flat across. Okay, and then maybe a big sphere in the middle, like that. And then out here could be smaller spheres. I'm already getting the sense that this could be a boss character. All right, and now we have that. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the robot, but I don't know if that will really work. We also have some pretty lanky arms up here too. This one's kind of short. Maybe we'll put some hands on there, but you know, like this one could do for some fingers, maybe mechanical fingers helping it walk. This one, maybe some fists. Okay, and this is all for fun too. So again, we're not landing on any specific design yet, because what we're going to do for this lesson is we're going to look at these silhouettes. I'm probably going to do, let's see, 3, 6, 9. I'll probably do 9 of them. And then we're going to choose one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over on here, and then I'm going to show you how to take one of your silhouettes and refine it to something that's really cool looking with minimal effort. Remember, I want you all to have fun while doing this. Okay, we still haven't gotten crazy enough with this. What if we do this? What if the arms, what if it walks like a crab? That would be kind of neat. And then these two spheres up here, you can have a smaller sphere attached to it, maybe a ton of them, maybe little balls or something, and they all shoot lasers at you. We could do that too, because this now looks like a hat. Let's have the top go up like this on both sides. Yeah, there we go. So now it looks like an evil crustacean crab robot. Okay, on to the next one. This is also a technique that you can do, similar to when I explained that you should scribble when you're doing creature design. Put a bunch of lines together, like this. Just scratch them all together, like that. If you have a fat end of the marker like this is probably the best one to use, because the fat end helps fill the gaps with black a lot faster than if you were to use the paintbrush version. So the paintbrush version will kind of, you know, tighten up some areas, but again, you don't want to fall victim to too much detail at this stage. All right, so what I did just now is almost looks like a xenomorph. I didn't even mean to do it. There's the head, and it looks like it has a jetpack in the back, some really fat legs, but then it gets skinny down at the ankle, and then that's it. So I don't want to put any toes. I'm actually pretty happy with that. And that's also cool because it's way different than these. So let's try it again, but let's try one that is facing us instead of side view. So what I'm doing, I'm just using the fat end, and I'm just layering different shapes here. I don't know if that's going to work, but it could. Okay, so let's see what we got. It's kind of a mess, right? Well, we can probably establish that maybe this side of the head has a gadget attached to it, and this is more of a flat part of the head. There's the neck. This right here is very readable. These could be the shoulders. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3 punch going on here. The head with a cool gadget. We got this massive torso, like a barrel chest. And then over here is kind of a really cool ambiguous, I guess you can call it right arm. And then over here it looks like, I don't know what that looks like. It almost looks like the robot needs a walking cane. So we'll see what happens. This is actually fun, so let's do this again. Okay, let's go down here and we'll do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. All right, so let's turn the marker this way, and let's have some lines go the opposite way that I was doing. Okay, I'm just kind of making shapes come together here. Okay, I think we got something here. So, okay, so bear with me. So it looks like long limbs again, but a very strong right shoulder, and then it looks like a very skinny head in here. And when the other thing to think about when we're doing robot design, try not to personify it too much. A lot of times robots look the best when they don't resemble humans in the slightest. Think about the head designs, hands and feet. This head right here is almost like, it's like a shaft with a big box on the top of it. Okay, could it be a long neck and a humanoid head? Sure, but even the cameras that could exist in there, the guns or whatever would exist in there, surveillance equipment, maybe they'll show in 500 or 600 lenses that are plastered all over that shape. Okay, and out here could be like wires attached to, I don't know, almost accordion-like tentacles with some cool equipment on the ends of them. That'd be kind of neat to do. Okay, let's move on. So now I'm going to tilt my marker just a little bit so I can get a different texture here. And then I'm going to splash some thin wire-like shapes together. And let's see what happens. Now I still have to pay attention to the outside, the silhouette, to make sure it's readable. Now it looks like Short Circuit. Those of you that grew up in the 80s know who Short Circuit is. Okay, there we go. That looks kind of cool. That's straight up humanoid right there. That looks like, some kind of strange skirt, see-through torso, very skinny legs, a cool hat, and some kind of crazy cyborg contraption on its shoulder. Cool. All right, I didn't expect that to happen, but that happened just because I turned the marker the other way and I was shaking my hand as if it was having a seizure. Okay, let's move on. You know, now that I'm doing this, I'm having so much fun that I think I'm going to do another page. So instead of 9, I'm probably going to have 18 to choose from. I'm also going to give you guys some tips on how to be your own art director, how to self-edit, so that you can help yourself choosing what thumbnail you want. Because let's face it, we've all been there where we had a thumbnail, 2 thumbnails, 3, 4, and we have no idea what to choose. Well, I'll tell you a little secret on how to do that. This is pretty gnarly. I just don't know what's going to happen underneath that. There's no mistakes here. This is the thing about the thumbnail stage. If you're drawing along with me, which I hope that you are, and you're looking at a silhouette like I am looking at mine and going, what in the world, how am I going to turn that into a robot? Not all robots have to walk. Okay, we're thinking of futuristic, we're thinking of other dimensions, we're thinking of alternate universes. Maybe it hovers. Okay, so if it hovers, wouldn't that be neat if the entire sphere had little vents coming out of it? So obviously, being the silhouette in black and white, we can only see the outside portions, but maybe all of this sphere is also covered with them, and maybe there's 2 big ones at the bottom. So let's fill the sides up. Okay, not only that, but it also strengthens the silhouette. So if you were to squint your eyes, which is a really cool method to figure out if the silhouette is readable, squint your eyes to what you're reading or you're drawing right now. And if the silhouette is still readable and you know what's going on, then you know it's strong. All right, there's a lot of really cool things to like about that one. Okay, so I'm going to take out this piece of paper. This is what it does to the back of it, by the way. So this is why you put in the printer paper so it doesn't bleed on your sheets below. This is what happens when you don't have any marker paper. Okay. If you don't know what marker paper to get, I mean, you could go to Walgreens or CVS and get some marker paper. If you want some slightly more expensive kind, you got Graphics 360, which is amazing. And you also have Letraset. I think you could do it on vellum too, but Letraset's like the bread and butter of marker paper. All right, let's move on to number 10. Let's see what we can do here. All right, let's do side views, but let's do the more creature route. Let's do some biomechanoid robots. Okay, because these are always fun. This is what I'm getting at from before. You know, when you give lessons in robot design, there's so many different variations of robots that you can do. You can't cover it in one lesson. All right, so for example, over here, you have very solid shapes, hard edge shapes. It could be considered retro or hard sci-fi or whatever. And then over here, you have a completely different genre. It could be sci-fi horror, it could be biomechanoid, thanks to H.R. Geiger, or, you know, from games like Horizon Zero Dawn, you got Doom, you got Gears of War, where the machinery and the organics seem to be mixed together. One of my favorite creatures ever is in Gears of War, the Brumac, just because it looks like a giant demonic Tyrannosaurus with a bazooka on it. Like, it's crazy. I love how all the wires are, you know, fused in with the body. Okay, let's see if we can get some cool shapes here. Now again, everything colored in black, that's going to be the main shape. So if you're brand new to this method of doing silhouettes for robots, please know that you don't need to think about the joints yet. All right, so these things probably wouldn't even work. I don't know. Like here, here, and then inside this torso area, well, I'm assuming it's torso, that's going to be the dominant place where all the little wires and the smaller machinery bits are going to exist. Let's move over here to this one. All right, let's try something new. Let's try something worm-like. So again, this is more side view here. Something skinny down here. And then, ooh, that's kind of neat. I don't even know if that... Oh, Bobby, what are you drawing? Can that be a robot? Yes. Okay. I mean, I'm thinking of the machines that existed in the Matrix movies, you know, the ones that float around the dead city and broke into Zion and everything. I mean, they looked crazy. Even the creatures in Day After Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, you know, those things are amazing. Creature design in there was amazing. But they were machines. They were machines, and they did have organics mixed into it. I don't want to add any more to that. That thing freaks me out. I'm going to come back to that. Now let's see what happens. How about a really skinny one? Where are the legs? I don't know. Looks like the entity from the Backrooms. You guys know what the Backrooms is? You just search it on YouTube. It was made popular by some kid who was a director in the... it's actually really well done. The first Backrooms film. You know, like you fall through a glitch in the Matrix. Like you're walking outside, all of a sudden you fall. Then you're in another dimension. You can't get out. That looks like it was just put together by a 5-year-old because they found their parents' welding equipment. And it kind of looks like Freddy too. Alright, I'm just... robotic Freddy. Alright. I can't stop looking at that one now. That one's funny. Okay. Let's see what happens here. That. Ooh, that's cool. That looks like it's dropping bombs places, but... oh, that's kind of neat. And that just happened because I just turned my marker the other way. And see, like this experimentation is what's so much fun about silhouettes in general, but especially robots. Because you can make a lot of these things look awesome or not awesome. So you got to be really careful. But here's the thing. You want to keep the integrity of the silhouette, and I don't want to start adding things. All right, you have to squint your eyes and imagine this thing still being readable from a distance. So you have to think about your favorite games that you like playing. Especially RPGs, games where it's like an aerial view of the character. I think World of Warcraft, StarCraft. You can easily recognize certain characters and creatures and weapons because of those strong silhouettes. That's the goal. That's always the goal when it comes to mech design, robot design, creature design, character design, all that. At the end of the day, if you can color your stuff in black and the shape is still readable, I'm going to keep repeating that too, then you know you're going to be successful. Okay, so I have, let's see how many, 3, 6, 9, 15. Okay, 3 more, and then we will move on to the next phase, which is laying down a foundation of starting the refinement process. And then we're going to have a little bit of fun, go into some time lapse, and you're going to watch me with a ballpoint pen draw over top of some marker, some light gray marker. Okay, and I'll give a really neat industrial design feel to it. Okay, but first we have to finish our designs here. Okay, so I don't want to do what I've been doing in this row, so let's see if we can get even more abstract. Okay, a triangle. Triangles are always readable, followed by maybe smaller triangles. Is that a robot? I don't know. Let's see what happens. Now we can start thinking about what can exist in between those shapes. What if we just turn the marker odd ways and then draw some legs? There we go. Now it kind of looks like if somebody's very expensive camera decided to grow legs and it's looking out this direction. That's kind of cool. It's almost like a giant horn, or maybe its own version of a bazooka. And what this method does is it forces me not to fall into my own habits. This is why silhouettes are so strong and powerful. You see how I just moved on to the second one? You got to train your brain to do that. Just move on. Even if you are really liking what you did, just move on. All right, so maybe that's kind of neat. I don't know what that would be. And also, these don't necessarily have to be robots. They could be machinery that's mounted on a wall, too. I really hope you're finding enjoyment out of this process. If you're new to concept art and you're new to searching for reference, drawing silhouettes, and really approaching it from the point of view of rough, refinement, finalized, if it's complete opposite of what you're used to doing, then I really hope that this opens your eyes to the possibilities of what you're capable of. Because a lot of times our own designs are hindered because we keep just going into detail too fast, and then once we draw something, we don't like what we drew, and details just accentuates what's wrong. That's what you got to be careful of. All right, so this is very celestial almost. It's actually, it's probably the prettiest one up here, but also looks like an insect. Let's put like a little head up there, just for fun. Look how long they got. I mean, these designs over here were kind of fun, and then these were fun for a different reason. You like more organic and abstract even. Okay, so the next thing to do is we're going to number these. All right, that's very, very important. So without further ado, let's take a pen. All right, and let's make sure we number them. So we go 1, 2, 3. Okay, takes a little bit of time. Okay, 9. All right, we got over here 10, 11, 12. I do like 12. It also freaks me out. 13 looks like Freddy Krueger. 14 is very abstract. 15, that just looks like a possessed shopping cart. 17 and 18 over here. Okay. All right. I'm not editing this out, folks. I'm making this as if you're sitting right next to me, and I'm just teaching you as I draw. because I know how hard it is to try to get into a classroom. So I'm trying to make my channel like a classroom here. All right, so let's study what we got, and then we're going to make a firm decision on which one to do. Now, some of you out there will probably not agree with what I choose, and that's totally fine. Okay, a lot of people are going to be viewing this, and a lot of people are going to have different opinions. I personally want to stay away from what I'm used to doing. So the humanoid ones are done. We're not going to do those. Row number 2, I am intrigued by 4. I'm also intrigued down here by number 7. Now, when I look at 6, I view 7 as a slightly better version of 6. It has a little bit more interesting things going on, especially on this side. Also, it's always fun to draw asymmetrical robots because it adds a little bit of chaos to your design and adds some interest. This one is fun, but again, I don't want to do a human. This one's crazy. I don't know what's going on here. That's really interesting. I'm probably going to come back to that one too. But so far, 7 has won over my heart. Let's look at page number 2. 10, I'm looking at it now and go, you know what? We have seen that in just about every Star Wars film known. 11, that is kind of cool, but again, it's back to my creepy, hairy, alien, lanky forms. I don't want that. 12 freaks me out still. There is potential with 12. 13 is a little too messy. 14's cool, but I don't really get a robot vibe out of it. Anything mech. It almost looks like an entity that's made out of a machine. Okay. 15, the demonic shopping cart. It's cute, but you know, maybe that could be in like Atomic Heart or something. I don't know. 16, it's like Siren Head's child. 17, it's as if, I don't know, a symbiote took over my wrench. And then 18 looks like if a ballerina played the Ouija board and regretted it. So I think what I'm going to do, here it is. I'm going to choose between 7 and 12. And I think I made my decision. So, without further ado, let's jump into part 2. Alrighty, so here we are. I chose my robot of choice, and I think I'm going to go with number 7. I know there's a lot of other ones that are pretty neat, but I think number 7 really speaks to me. So, how am I going to start this second phase? So after you do all the fun silhouettes and everything, second phase is to ghost in a bigger silhouetted image of what you're going to be drawing on top of. Now, an old industrial design trick is to throw down marker first, take some ballpoint pen and draw on top of that. So I'm just taking a very light marker of mine, very light gray, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly draw in with the brush part what the body is going to look like. Now, at this point, some of the shapes are going to have to be a little bit more thought out, but for the most part, you can just paint it in as if you're painting on canvas. Okay, just have fun with it. If you don't have a marker with you, that's okay too, because remember, your pencil is a paintbrush also. You got to start thinking of art as, how should I put it? It's not linear, it's not straightforward. There's a lot of different tools that you can use to accomplish the same thing. You know, it's like if you don't have a paintbrush, you can paint with a stick. Probably you won't get the same results, but you can use a lot of tools. Let's say you're a painter and you don't have any tools next to you. Well, you can probably use a crayon and still achieve some really awesome stuff. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the shape of, I took a picture of it. It's on my cell phone over here to the right, so I don't have to keep flicking back and forth. I took a picture of number 7, and I'm just doing a slightly more thought out version of what's actually going on with the body. Okay, painting it on just as freely as possible, just having fun with it. And I might notice some things in the larger version that I'm doing that I didn't before. And that's really cool because it opens up a lot of opportunities. And remember, you still can't mess up at this point. You just have to embrace what you drew and then start drawing on top of it and you get some happy accidents. You could get some really cool things happening. Okay, so let me move this up a little bit. Probably see it. Okay, I'm going to try to fit this into the frame as much as I can. Okay, we got that. Now there's not a lot of tension in the stance, and I wanted there to be some better weight distribution. Okay, so most of the time, you know, we're showing weight distribution, you want to show the legs spread out a little bit, show it, making it look like the joints and everything are pressed down. There we go. Because I know some of the joints that I drew are kind of crazy looking, and they're probably not all going to be accurate. But let's see what happens. All right, got this. This is just my thinking drawing right here. We gotta make sure that we put in those really crazy wiry shapes that are hanging off the side here. And part 3, hope you're sticking around, and if you're drawing along with me, that's great. Part 3, I'm going to be doing some time lapse here, so you're going to see me fill in the details. All right, so there's a very crude mock-up of number 7. Okay, looks like I painted it on. Now, without further ado, let's get into some time lapse and let's see what happens. Alrighty, so hopefully you enjoyed that little time-lapse session here. So I want to go over quickly what I actually did over top of the very light marker lines. So as you can see, a lot of the stuff is still in the thinking stage. I didn't dwell too much on each individual mechanical joint to make sure it's 100% accurate and functional. Instead, I was given the hint that something more intricate is in those areas. So those of you that are just starting out drawing robots and mechs, just make sure that the joints in certain areas are going to have a little bit more detail because of the articulation. Okay, places that need to move, you need to think about those places a little bit more, I guess, in depth. And then you have the eye rest by bigger areas. And the same thing goes when you do creature design also. You don't want to bog it down with so much detail because you can draw every scale and spike and whatever you're going to put on it. Instead, just make sure that your eye can rest so that it's not bombarded by so much detail. All right, when I'm looking at certain places, like for example, the leg, let me scroll down here a little bit, or push it down, I should say. Notice how it's an asymmetrical hip. Okay, this leg is completely different than that one, adding a little bit more spunk and variety to it. Starting to think that maybe this robot was kind of tossed together from a junkyard, or maybe it was this long lost, I don't know, pilot of some kind of ship and it could do everything, or it's a hunk of junk that never worked to begin with and it's in a museum. So who knows? But the bottom line is, whenever I'm putting lines down, every single line is an indication that something hard could exist there, like a screw or a panel, and you want to leave it up to the imagination. So when you look at this robot as a whole, each person looking at it is going to interpret it in a different way. And that's why all of these silhouettes back here are so important, because you could go back over any one of these and turn it into something like this. Okay, so if you want to learn how to become a better artist, and if you're intimidated and you just really don't know where to start, join our Creature Design Workshop Discord. You can check out the links in the description below. I'm also running a Creature Design Workshop through my Discord you can sign up for. I'm running a special summer rate right now, and I might actually keep that rate from now on. But with whatever you choose to do, if you just want to become a better artist and be around like-minded folks, come into our Discord, have a look around. You're free to leave whenever you want, come back whenever you want. It's a bustling community. We have many people joining every single day, showing pics of their studios, asking for feedback, joining our Creature Design monthly challenge, where we announce the winners at the end of each month based on a brief at the beginning of the month. It's just a lot of fun. People come together and really show what they're made of. It's really cool. And I also run a private mentorship, which is more in-depth. So if you are interested in signing up for my private mentorship, please email me at bobbyrebholz@gmail.com. And if you have any questions, I try to answer every single one, so you can always leave them in the comments below. And in general, just comment and let me know what your school projects are on, what you're annoyed with in art, and maybe I can help you with it. I don't know if I can help you in just one answer on a YouTube comment, but that's why I encourage everyone to join the Discord. Also, if you see me here adding in a nice darker outline, it just helps the silhouette. This is what I was talking about in the very beginning during the silhouette phase. The outline is everything when it comes to characters. Creatures, characters, doesn't matter. And of course, robots falls into that category. Okay. There you have it. Hopefully this was a lot of fun. I know it was a lot of fun for me. I promise more robotic designs coming in more advanced industrial design sketching too. All right, so thank you all again for tuning in. I appreciate you. I really do. And until next time, later.